Hello, everybody. This is Costa from Broker Bay, and today is Monday, June 22nd, 2020. And I'm here today with the market trend updates for this week. We're doing it a little bit differently this week. We've extended the period of time that we're going to look at because we're so far into the future from when COVID-19 first started that it's important for us to get a higher level view here. So we're looking at 180 days, and this blue line here is what showings were pre-COVID-19 and where we are now. So a lot of people have been asking for this particular chart, and I think it's pretty exciting to see that we are back in territory almost identically to where we were pre-COVID-19. We're reaching the same highs essentially, and the same lows in terms of showings. I will add a caveat to this. Even though we're back pre-COVID-19 levels, assuming COVID-19 did not happen, I would presume that in the months of March and April, we would have probably been seeing appointments well into the 13,000 range per week on any particular peak day on like a Tuesday. But we have not seen that yet. So I still think we're trending upwards, and we're not at where we would have been if COVID-19 never happened, but we're at least back to where we were before COVID-19 happened. So pretty promising stuff. And as you can see how dramatic the change has been over this last 11 to 12 weeks. That is showings. When we look at offers are also continuing to trend higher. The reason why offers this week are not at the same level as they were pre-COVID times is because offers are trailing by about a week and a half to 2 weeks from what we see. So as you can see here, the peak pre-COVID is is end of very beginning of March. When we look at the very beginning of March in terms of offers, we can see here that it's still not the peak. So what that tells us is that the peak is delayed for offers by about a week and a half compared to showings. So assuming this is true, which I believe it is, we should see a peak amount of offers being registered on properties in about a week and a half if this comparison holds true, which I'm pretty confident it will. The other thing to note is that the showing peak of this week is actually down from last week. So I don't think that's of any concern or alarm. I think it's a little bit out of the ordinary compared to the other 11 weeks that just went by, because every single week showings have gone up in terms of the peak that we've seen. But I think even when we look at pre-COVID-19 times, you could see that there are weeks that are lower while the trend continues to trend higher. So yeah, I think we're definitely a little lower this week, but I believe that the trend still is maintaining in positive growth. Great. Last 30 days. So the indicators that I want to look at for the last 30 days, which I still think hold meaning this week as they did last week, are comparing MLS listings to offer registrations. So as you can see this particular week here, new MLS listings, which is this teal line right here, it's not higher. I think if anything, the amount of listings is likely slightly lower, and I think that's probably due to the upcoming long weekend and people probably holding off a little bit to list in the long weekend. But as you can see in this orange line, offer registrations continue to trend slightly higher week after week, which is very promising. This particular low period right here has to do with Father's Day, so I wouldn't be particularly concerned that this has gone lower on this particular day. I still think the trend is maintaining a positive growth trajectory. But yeah, the underlying indicator of demand, offer registrations, continues to trend higher as inventory is essentially even, if not slightly lower. When we look at showings month over month, so this blue line is this week, month over month, compared to the previous month, which is this red line right here, we maintain, obviously, very positive growth. Showings up 84.8%, offer registrations up 117, new MLS 54, new exclusive 58, and solds up 103%. So although these are very still aggressively trending upwards, the rate at which they're trending upwards is actually a little down from last week. So last week we were seeing triple-digit growth in showings, and this week we did not, and that could be because of a multitude of factors. Maybe it's Father's Day or who knows. But yeah, the growth this week is not as strong as the growth last week, although it maintains very positive. For the first time ever since we've started these reports, when we look at this week versus last week, we've actually never seen a complete crossing of this week's showings over last week. So what this crossing here means is that in the after about Thursday, the amount of showings this week was consistently less than last week. So last week, about halfway through the week, was higher than this week halfway through the week. So I think it's way too early, and these lines are way too close to distinguish if there's a real trend evolving here, and if showing or market activity is going lower. But I think it's something that we should definitely keep an eye on, and this upcoming week I think will validate our assumptions as to what's actually happening here. But I think at least for Sunday and Saturday, it's pretty reasonable to think that because of Father's Day and people maybe not going to see properties in the fantastic weather, that maybe people are just taking it easy. But we won't know until next week. So let's stay tuned for that. In terms of the actual numbers, showings it was like 0.003% up. So I'm going to say that it's 0% change in showings this week compared to last week. Offer registrations up 5%. New MLS listings up. New MLS listings down 4.6%. And as we know, there's an inverse relationship between exclusives and MLS. And I presume that the reason exclusives went up is because people are holding off for a week or so before going to the MLS. And solds are up 9.3%. So these are the market stats for this week, everyone. Things are still heading in the right direction. I think next week's going to be very interesting to see where and how the trend continues. And I'll be in touch next Monday. Thanks, everyone, for your time, and talk to you soon.